The town of Willow Creek sat quietly between open fields and a slow-moving river, the kind of place where mornings felt soft and evenings carried long shadows. People there believed life followed a simple path. You grew up, you learned a trade, you worked hard, and you stayed where your roots were planted. Dreams were spoken about quietly, almost carefully, as if saying them too loudly might invite disappointment. Ethan Carter grew up in that town with a dream he could never fully explain. From the time he was young, he felt there was something waiting for him beyond the familiar streets and old wooden houses. When he looked at the horizon, he did not just see land and sky. He felt a pull in his chest. A quiet voice asking him to keep moving, to keep searching. As a boy, Ethan spent hours lying on the grass behind his family's home, watching clouds drift across the sky. He imagined stories in their shapes and wondered where they were going. His father often watched him from the porch, shaking his head with a gentle smile. "You think too much," his father would say. "Life is simple. Work hard and be grateful." Ethan loved his father, but those words never settled comfortably in his heart. His mother understood him better. She would sit beside him in the evenings, her voice calm and warm as the summer air. "Some people are born with a restlessness," she once told him. "It does not mean they are ungrateful. It means they are listening to something inside." That sentence stayed with Ethan long after childhood faded into memory. School came and went, and Ethan did well enough to stay unnoticed. He was not the loudest student or the most confident. He listened more than he spoke, and when he did speak, his words were thoughtful. Teachers often told him he had potential, though they never said exactly what kind. As he grew older, the pressure to choose a path began to weigh on him. Friends talked about jobs they would take, families they would start, houses they would buy. Ethan nodded and smiled, but inside he felt lost. None of those plans felt wrong, yet none of them felt right. At night, he lay awake staring at the ceiling, his mind filled with questions he could not answer. Was it selfish to want more than what was offered? Was it foolish to believe destiny could be something greater than routine? One evening, after a long day at the local warehouse where Ethan worked, he walked along the river. The sun was setting, painting the water with shades of gold and orange. The world felt quiet, as if holding its breath. That was when he met Samuel. Samuel was an older man with weathered skin and eyes that seemed to hold entire lifetimes. He sat on a worn bench, sketching the river in a small notebook. Ethan would have walked past him, but something about the man's calm presence made him stop. "That's beautiful," Ethan said, surprising himself. Samuel looked up and smiled. "The river does most of the work. I just try to keep up." They talked for a while, about simple things at first. The weather, the town, the way time seemed to move differently near water. Then Samuel asked a question that felt like it reached directly into Ethan's chest. "What do you dream about when no one is watching?" Ethan hesitated. No one had ever asked him that so directly. He thought about giving a safe answer, but something in Samuel's eyes told him honesty mattered. "I dream about leaving," Ethan said quietly. "About finding something I can't name yet." Samuel nodded slowly. Dreams often come without labels. They want to be felt before they are understood. From that evening on, Ethan and Samuel met often. They talked about art, travel, failure, and courage. Samuel shared stories of his youth, of chances taken and chances missed. He spoke without regret but with clear lessons woven into his words. Destiny is not a place you arrive at, Samuel once said. It's a direction you choose again and again. Those conversations stirred something deep inside Ethan. For the first time, his dreams felt less like distant wishes and more like possible futures. The idea of leaving Willow Creek no longer felt like betrayal. It felt like honesty. Still, fear followed him everywhere. Fear of failing. Fear of disappointing his family. Fear of discovering that his dream led nowhere. One night, after another long conversation with Samuel, Ethan returned home and found his mother waiting for him at the kitchen table. She looked at him the way she used to when he was a child, as if she already knew what he was going to say. "I think I need to go," Ethan said, his voice barely steady. She reached across the table and held his hands. "Then you already know the answer." Leaving was harder than Ethan expected. Every familiar street felt heavier. Every goodbye lingered too long. His father hugged him tightly, saying little but meaning everything. "Make your life count," his father finally said. With a small bag and a heart full of hope and fear, Ethan stepped onto a bus heading toward a city he had only seen in pictures. As the town disappeared behind him, he felt both loss and freedom rise together inside his chest. The city was louder, faster, and more crowded than anything Ethan had known. Buildings stretched upward like giants, and people moved with purpose, rarely looking at one another. At first, Ethan felt invisible, and strangely, he liked it. He took whatever work he could find, washing dishes, carrying boxes, cleaning offices late at night. The days were long and exhausting, but they were his. Every struggle felt like proof that he was moving forward. At night, he wrote. He did not know when the habit began, only that it became necessary. He wrote about the town, the river, Samuel, and the quiet dreams that refused to fade. Writing became his way of understanding himself, of turning confusion into clarity. Rejection came often. Letters unanswered. Emails politely declining. Each one stung, but Ethan remembered Samuel's words about choosing direction, not arrival. There were moments when he almost gave up. Nights when exhaustion made his dreams feel childish. But something always pulled him back. A sentence that felt true. A stranger's kindness. A quiet belief that destiny was not finished with him yet. Years passed, though Ethan barely noticed time moving. Then one afternoon, everything changed. A small publishing house reached out, interested in his writing. They did not promise success, only possibility. Ethan read the email again and again, his hands trembling. The book did not make him famous overnight. It did not solve all his problems. But it did something far more important. It confirmed that his voice mattered. When Ethan returned to Willow Creek for the first time since leaving, the town looked smaller, yet warmer. The river still flowed as it always had. Samuel's bench was empty, and Ethan learned the old man had passed away quietly, leaving behind sketches and stories scattered among those who loved him. Ethan sat by the river, holding a worn notebook Samuel had once given him. He understood then that dreams do not disappear when people do. They travel forward, carried by those brave enough to continue them. Standing there, Ethan realized destiny was never about escaping where you came from. It was about becoming who you were meant to be, no matter the distance. He smiled, feeling both gratitude and peace. And if there is one quiet truth this story holds, it is this: dreams are not accidents. They are invitations. Destiny is not written for us. It is written through us, one choice at a time. I share stories like this every day. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.